in the middle.
Where are you, Kat?
All right, well, now we have more comments than we have seconds on the air, so I don't know how that works.
Well, my mic came undone. Look at that. That's not going to work.
No.
Mics aren't
no, I
plugged
think somebody
in.
did that on purpose. No,
Here.
not me. I hate talking. I want you to continue to talk.
Are we on or are we just...
We're on.
We
And
are?
I'm going to catch you guys off guard with this later, so it's coming, just so you know.
Release the Kraken.
Okay, so we're live.
We're live.
Okay, John said he hit the
We're
button
live.
for us to go live, and then he said the light's not going on. So we waited 10, 15 seconds. Then he said, I'm going to click it again. Then he said, it's still not on, and then my mic came unplugged. And I guess we're ready to go. Guess what? Stars win again. They didn't give up a goal again as they beat the Seattle Kraken at the AAC. Back-to-back shutouts. We have Sean. We have Luds. Sam will join us later. This is the DLLS Dallas Stars postgame show.
Talking.
Just say, I don't have anything.
Sean, you're going to have to carry the show for me.
How about that? A Dallas Stars victory times 3. They remain perfect on the young season with a 2-0 shutout of the Seattle Kraken. They are now 3-0, and they haven't given up a goal since the opener on Thursday night in Bridgestone. 120 minutes of shutout hockey at the AAC to begin the year. That is quite impressive. And they used 2 different goalies to do it. Welcome into the Dallas Stars post-game show here on DLLS alongside Craig Ludwig and Sean Shapiro. I'm Owen Newkirk. John Anderson, our producer, back from his absolutely frantic party wedding scene.
Call it what it is. It was a bender.
It was a
is
bender
what it
indeed
was.
of the epic. We'll get into that probably more on Monday's show tomorrow. But how about that, fellas? Another win for the Stars. They give up very little to the Kraken. Both goalies look good. Casey DeSmith was with his debut, and they win again. If you were to rate, and we'll get into all the details of this game tonight, if you were to rate the first 3 games in order of the best played by the Stars, which one would you put at number 1?
Play? Which game?
Yeah, which game do you think was the best overall performance from the Stars?
I think they've gotten better each game. So I would have to say tonight. For me, when looking at the couple games prior and the things that we talked about, coverage at times, I think it's getting tighter. I think when Pete said he liked his game the last couple games, I think he's liking it even more each day because it's getting a little bit tighter and the quality chances, I think, are coming a little bit harder for the opponents. So obviously, goaltending, again, both great. So I would think it's taken steps. It's exactly how you draw it up at the start of the year.
Sean, same question. Do you agree with Luds?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think there was, especially when you account for
You sounded a little
circumstances.
reluctant.
I was just going to say, Sean, you
No,
always
no.
sound disappointed that
You
you have
agree?
to
I mean-
agree with
No,
something
no,
I say.
no, it's
okay.
Oh,
I
yeah,
guess I
no.
agree with him.
agree with the idiot again.
That's because he doesn't have any Herman Marshall to pick up his spirits.
If he ever comes to town, he'll have some.
Open
Yes.
invitation, Sean.
Yes.
We've got some bourbon for you.
I will keep that in mind on the open bourbon invitation. That's important. This one I thought was the best games played so far. And I thought just circumstance-wise, coming off a back-to-back to keep building, I thought this could have been an ugly game coming in just based off how it's set up. And I thought they played a really clean game. So for me, this is definitely, they've built and took what could have been a bad setting. Now both teams are playing on back-to-backs, but one where good teams do this in rough situations sometimes, and I thought they did a good job of that early in the season.
Luds asked about the quality chances or said, hey, it feels like they're going down. Again, take this with a massive grain of salt, maybe a whole rim of a margarita glass. But I had Nashville at 35 quality chances. Now, again, quality chances are not high danger. They're just scoring chances.
35?
35 scoring chances.
Okay.
They had
That's a lot.
32 with the Islanders, had 32. And tonight they gave up 24. That is trending in the right direction.
Yeah, and you can see it in their game. I mean, just the way that they're managing the puck in certain areas of the ice, the way they're exiting their zone, the way they're coming back into their own. I notice it more coming back into their own zone for coverage. They just seem more connected right now, and that's what they're going to strive for all year long. And, we saw little pockets where guys weren't where they're supposed to be, and it may be only 2-3 feet sometimes. I mean, I saw a couple tonight in the slot where that offside forward gets a little bit wide out of that nice area in front of the net, but for the most part, they're pretty tight in their own zone, and it's difficult to get pucks to, in that quality area for them quality chances.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow us on social media, jump into the chat here live, get to the Discord if you want to make sure we see it later, and we'll have a show tomorrow afternoon and talk about the weekend and look ahead at 3 more games next week. But let's get to tonight's recap, and we start where we always do in the first period. And this looked to me like a Seattle team that had to play the night before, travel, get in late, because they started, I thought, really sleepily. And Dallas was all over them. Early chances, Duchesne, Hintz, Stankoven, Harley, Lundqvist. And then the first big chance was Mason Marchment hit the post on a wrister from the low slot from a surprise, Matt Duchesne setup pass. I know we've seen Duchesne for over a year now in Dallas, but he ceases to amaze me. He's a wizard with the puck in the offensive zone.
It's his vision. I think and this is something I would show to young players, and Matt, before he even gets the puck, he already has his head on a swivel. He knows where his teammates are, especially his couple wingers, and he knows where he is all the time on the ice, and he finds the little pockets that if he can't make it tape to tape, he'll put it in an area close to you where you're skating into it. So I just think that it's his awareness before he even gets the puck that makes him so good.
Unfortunately, Sean, Marchment taketh and he giveth away, because after that great chance, he draws a penalty. Riker Evans cross-checked him. The referee closest to the offensive net didn't put his arm up. So as Marchment's barking at the referee and then goes to get his retribution, the back referee had his arm raised. Marchment doesn't see it, so he goes and whacks him. He gets slashing, and they play 4-on-4, and that's Mason Marchment in a nutshell, is it not?
Yeah, there's never a boring Mason Marchment shift, for better or worse. There's times I'm sure that Pete DeBoer is thrilled with it, and I'm sure there's times where the staff could be thrilled if it was a little bit more of a boring shift. So but that's who Mason Marchment is. We've learned and seen that over the past couple of years. No surprise there, and yeah, that's Mason Marchment hockey.
What I was really impressed about is that shortly into the 4-on-4, after the Stars had one decent chance from Harley, it wasn't a grade A, but Wyatt Johnston gets called for tripping. He got his stick out, got a guy caught, goes down. So it's 4-on-3. They had about 20-25 seconds of 4-on-3, Seattle did, power play. And then 5-on-4 is the two, I would call them combatants, but the coincidental minors of Evans and Marchment come out of the box. And Dallas did not give up a single scoring chance to the Seattle power play. I thought that penalty kill looked a lot more tidy.
And it was about their structure again, especially on the 4-on-3. They had that. It was, they play a diamond, and it was tight. There aren't bodies far away. I mean, it's again, I use the rope analogy. They've got a rope 10 feet apart, and when one moves one way, the other one comes with them, and the third one comes along. So, and then the other thing is when there were opportunities to be aggressive, they went at the right time to put some pressure on them.
The Stars get a power play. Oh, we got a super chat. We have to stop down the show because we have
61 from
break.
Dlls.
What's a 61? Who's the last 61? 63 is Dodonov. We got Heiskanen and I can't even think of who a 61 would be for the Dallas Stars. We'll have to look into that. DeSmith strong in his crease. Labushkin 4:37 penalty kill time.
I don't know. I can see Sean working the computer right now.
Yeah, he's going to jump
to find out.
He's
cheating. I am cheating. I'm looking. There's never been a 61 in Stars history, by the way.
There you go. So it's just an arbitrary.
Well, maybe it's a reverse and it's supposed to be 16.
No, he wouldn't do that to us.
I don't know. He wants us to say it. I don't know.
No, the total amount of offensive yards that the Cowboys had today.
Ooh, that is a scorned Patriots fan upset with another horrifying loss to the Texans. Did Corey Stillman wear 61 with the Hurricanes? Back,
now you're going to go down all the players in history.
No, it's just that when 61, it's the first name that popped in my head. All I can think of.
I mean, Rick Nash is the first 61.
Rick Nash, probably the best one.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so the Stars get a power play. They don't score, but they had two chances, one from Seguin, one from Stankoven. And to me, it felt abundantly clear. Sean, I'll go with you on this one first. that there was a mandate to get the puck off their stick a little bit more in the power play tonight than the first 2 games.
Yeah, for sure. I also liked there was a little bit more creativity tonight that we didn't see the first games. I think it was the first or second power play we saw Robertson and Heiskanen kind of work the 2-man game where they actually switched, right? Like in the past 2 games, we've seen them play catch there and everything like that. But we actually saw the full rotation on the top where Heiskanen ended up taking Robertson's spot on the right on the right flank there. Robertson moved to the top and it created a little look and got them moving. So I thought both the shots came quicker, and I thought they actually looked and tried to break down the penalty killers a little bit more. And that's something where I think power play wise that hadn't been there the first couple games, and the shooting mentality works with that too, I think.
Did you like that while they weren't cashing in on the power play, and we'll talk about some other ones later where they had the man advantage, it looked like there were at least some spots where some retrievals could have caused some chaos for the penalty killers for Seattle?
Yeah, I just think when you talk about what Dallas did, to me, the power play, their special teams in general, but the power play, exactly what you said. As I think what they were doing through the first 2 games is there were some lanes that they got used to last year that were available at times, and they were still trying to squeeze them into those areas of the ice or through that lane. And tonight, I think the message is take what they give you. And if the lane's not there, then we go to the net, and then everybody gets on the same page and get more puck shoot. And that way, at least when pucks are going to the net and there's traffic there, typically jamiebenn, hard for goaltenders to see it, loose pucks, we get on it and retrieve it back.
We got another super chat here. This one is a Heiskanen and Stanley Cup year.
Is there a 99? Do you know of a 99?
I do know of a 99,
okay.
yes. But I figured from a Dallas Stars perspective, you'd appreciate the Stanley Cup year over Bueno Bueno.
That was that 99?
I mean,
they all kind of run together.
No, they don't.
Yeah.
You remember the Stanley Cup years, I'm sure. But anyway, Chris Shelton writes in, power play seems snake bitten to start. Is this a concern, or do we need patience since the one guy we won't name is gone?
Do we want to hear the ding? No. No, it's not. Listen, if they stay on this track, this team, with the way that they can move the puck and shoot the puck and find seams and find the holes in the net, their power play will be back on track.
You agree? Personnel okay?
I agree. Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's a classic example too of you have a team that's 3-0 to start the year, and it's very easy to start trying to find and pick and prod things that are. It's easy to try to find problems. I think that's very much when you focus so heavily on one team, and I think Stars fans do this a lot. This is a very good team that is going to go deep and have a great year. It's easy to try to find problems that everyone else also has and think they're a bigger deal than they are right now. I've watched a lot of hockey this week so far. A lot of teams are struggling to get the power play going. To me, right now, having to add some more creativity, figure things out in Game 3, this is normal for an NHL team. So I don't have any concern about it right now.
Do you agree with that assessment about other teams struggling on the power play around the league?
Yeah, again, they're in the same situation where their camps, the 10, 12 days and the 5, 6 games, whatever they play, are typically about getting the young players and getting giving them some looks and see what they can do and who can we plug in if we need some bodies to come up here. And it's not focused on the special teams because you don't have your whole group out there unless you get even into the last preseason game. But for the most part, it's work in progress once the year starts.
So I believe, I forgot to ask you about this. Mm-hmm. Do you have your marquee moment planned out? Are we talking about the next little sequence?
I do.
Okay, so
of course, I'm a professional.
Well, we should do it now then.
We can do it now.
Is it okay? Yeah. Well, if it's okay with you, here's the Herman Marshall marquee moment of the game. Pick up your favorite bottle at your closest goody liquor.
Closest one is right there.
I mean, that's the store right here.
You know what? Tonight, and I'm sure Sean's going to disagree because he thinks I'm going with Casey DeSmith. I'm not. I was going to, but I'm going with the game-winning goal. I'm going with Sam Steele, and it's the whole play. Thomas Harley had to get his butt over to keep a puck in at the offensive blue line. The puck moves down to Colin Blackwell down on the goal line. Blackwell finds Sam Steele, and what I like about Sam Steele is he stands inside the crease. He doesn't move. It's a little tap-in goal, but I mean, it was a hard-working, blue-collar kind of a goal, and it's the one that kind of set the tone for the hockey game, and they wrote it all the way out.
So
Look at me shaking. He's still shaking his head.
he was looking because I just sent him a text message to respond to a question he asked.
Why are you tag teaming me now?
40 minutes ago. He was just asking if I was still tracking scoring chances, so I just wrote yes just to distract him. And it worked because he looked off the screen.
I agree with Lutz. I actually agree with Lutz though, because I thought one of the great. No, not reluctant at all. No, I thought it was before the goal. I thought it was a great imagery of right before the goal. You see all three members of that fourth line hard in below the goal line, all four pressing, forcing a Seattle defense. And I believe, if I remember correctly, that was drawing a blank on his name. Who came in for Dunn tonight? It was
Josh
the
Mahura.
defenseman. Yeah, Mahura is the one who makes the play and is under pressure, and it goes to Harley. I thought that was a great imagery. We hear all the time about teams and coaches talking about wanting an identity for a fourth line. That moment right there is what that fourth line's identity needs to be. So I agree with you.
Okay. I'm upstairs in the press box when that moment happens. And Sam and I are sitting side by side. We're talking about this because all three forwards on that fourth line got in on the forecheck, but then the puck got past them. And for a split second, we went, uh-oh, that's not good because all three are at the goal line and the puck's going the other way. And that fumble on the half wall where Harley got the turnover saved what could have been a bad play and turned it into a great play.
Right. And Sean, I think the word we should use with that line is an identity. They're forging an identity that the coach wants them to, to be able to go out and provide, whether it's for 10, 12, 13 minutes. The other thing about Blackwell, and Steele, the same thing, but those two guys led all forwards in PK time tonight. 3+ minutes. The next closest was jamiebenn. And when I watch them killing penalties tonight, I'm like, there's their go-to guys on PK. Again, you're finding roles for everybody on the team. And I think they're starting to carve that out now. And if you can be those guys that lead out there on PK and you do what you do as a fourth line, whatever you want to call it during a game, you're going to find, your coaches are going to lean on you in certain times. And especially when one of your top lines isn't going. They're going to throw them out there and place there and miss a couple shifts for these guys. And it's going to be about one of those energy kind of shifts.
So Harley makes the play at the blue line, big play, gets it down to Colin Blackwell in the corner, and he goes across the crease. It's probably a pass that shouldn't get through if you're a Seattle defender, but a great pass. Steele is there for a slam dunk at the far right post. He gets his first of the year at 16-17, and Dallas has the lead. And for every bottle of single-barrel straight bourbon whiskey, Herman Marshall donates 15% of its revenue to the Guns N' Hoses Foundation of North Texas for those who went before. Stop in at your closest goody-goody liquor store to find your favorite bottle. This might be our favorite. Sean, it's a great pass and a great finish, but it was the sort of cap-off of that play. But then the Stars immediately went off the next face-off and consolidated their lead.
Yeah, obviously great approach. I thought our pal Robert Tiffin had a pretty good question on Twitter about the goal. When you see Wyatt Johnston come down that right side and rip that shot, who does that look? What does that shot remind you of a little bit of? Who have we seen that shot in Stars history from a little bit? And to me, it was very prime Jason Spezza-esque if you think about the way that kind of came down the wing. I thought it was great shot by Johnston. But I want to give a little bit of credit to jamiebenn on the play, too. I thought it was a really nice little underrated part of the play where the drop pass right there to kind of move the point of attack, move Grubauer a little bit. I thought it was just give all the credit to Johnston on the shot and everything. But I think there's a lot of little things within the play sometimes that jamiebenn does that, to me, I know it's a very simple drop pass, but it sets up that slight change of angle, sets up those things where Johnston is then able to finish.
You can always go to Twitter, Sean, and you can check out what was tweeted out that Lutz described exactly what you just said, because it was subtle. And the thing about it is when Jamie drops that puck, he takes his stick and he puts it on the defenseman's stick and he pulls it to the middle of the ice. And then he cuts to the defenseman's right side, again to the middle of the ice, and he pulls the defenseman with him. And all of a sudden, this little sea of space opens up for Wyatt. And we've seen that shot, as you guys talked about, and to be able to go far side high, but he doesn't get that much space and time if Jamie doesn't make that play. Again, Sean, go to Twitter and just check it out.
Yeah, just go to Twitter. I'll just read your tweets. I'll read your tweets on air. We'll just go with that tonight.
Old dramatic reading of Lutz tweets. I refuse to call it X. I'm calling it Twitter.
Okay.
But let me ask you this. Riker Evans was the defenseman that got dragged. He's the left side of that pairing. do you want him to fight away from that pressure from Jamie and try to
No.
give Wyatt a little pressure, or
No.
do you want him to go with Jamie?
Because if he tries to fight away from Jamie, Jamie slides through that hole, and Jamie's in there.
And then Wyatt goes right back to him?
Jamie, well, I don't know, even if he doesn't, if he shoots the puck and there's a rebound, now Jamie's got position on him. So he plays it right. I think he plays it right. Well, again, back in the day, if somebody was coming against me like that and tried to do that and tried to push me, he would probably get a stick in the chest, and you just kind of straighten him up for a second. And then it slows his momentum down. He straightens up. Now you can recover back a little bit so that maybe you can get your stick on the shot.
Sean, so then if the defenseman did it right, is that on Grubauer for not making that save from the right faceoff dot? It would have been his left, but Wyatt's right.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a bit of a perfect shot too, right? Like I think sometimes you have to, like so many times we look for mistakes too. I think it is a bit of give Johnston credit. It's a perfect shot. If you want to be hypercritical of what Grubauer did, I think right before, if you go in freeze frame, right before the shot, he's actually shading glove side a little bit more, which is interesting when we talked about before the game how he's struggled glove side. So I wonder, and now I'm curious to watch Grubauer play more to see if there's more of that cheating now to overcompensate for that. So maybe if he's an inch to his right, he has an easier reach with the right arm to make that blocker save. But let's just give Wyatt Johnston the credit here. That's a perfect shot. The defender played it well. The guy came in, he made a perfect shot. 99% of the time, that's easily blockered away, and we're not even talking about this play. So give Wyatt credit here on that shot.
So 2 goals in 13 seconds. And I looked it up just because I wanted to see. It's not even close to the Stars' record. The fastest is 3 goals tied at 7 seconds. So 13 seconds for 2 goals is tied for the 37th fastest goals by a Stars franchise, whether it's Minnesota or Dallas. So not all that particular, but still 2 goals in 13 seconds. That was, again, I think Stars really outplayed Seattle in the first period. But it was that moment and then the moment that followed where they all of a sudden find themselves down 2. And that's a real hole for a team that was, maybe a little fortunate to fight back and win last night on a shootout, and they're struggling a little bit.
I think you can almost say you would expect it to be the dagger. They back-to-back, they had to travel, all those things, ingredients. But give them credit because they didn't. I mean, they kept fighting back through the entire hockey game and, still had a chance to go in there halfway through the second or third period.
Up next, we'll talk about the second period as the Stars have a 2-0 lead after the first here on the DLLS Dallas Stars postgame show.
Well, let's talk about Herman Marshall again, our favorite little buddy. Founded in 2010, Herman Marshall, Dallas County's first legal distillery since the repeal of Prohibition. Honoring the founder's passion for creating good, smooth whiskey with lots of flavor, today Herman Marshall Whiskey aims to preserve the legacy of Herman Beckley and Marshall Lewis, with its commitment to community, quality, and innovation. Now located in the historic downtown Wiley, Texas, is proud to partner with the Guns N' Hoses Foundation of North Texas on a single-barrel expression of its signature straight bourbon whiskey. The Guns N' Hoses Foundation is a nonprofit organization dedicated to providing immediate financial assistance to the families of fallen police officers and firefighters lost in the line of duty. They're built from the grain up through family, fellowship, and friends. As Owen said, for every bottle of single-barrel straight bourbon whiskey, Herman Marshall donates 15% of its revenue to the Guns N' Hoses Foundation of North Texas for those who went before. Stop in to your closest goody-goody liquor store to find your favorite bottle.
Time for us to talk about Empire Today. With Empire Today, you get shop-at-home convenience, the right product for your needs, quick and professional installation, and a low price guarantee. Empire Today is the best place to get a new flooring. So, of course, they do have copycats, but they can't be beaten on quality, service, speed. So competitors advertise low-quality products that Empire simply won't carry. Empire won't promise the lowest prices because anyone who does that is putting flooring in your home that they wouldn't put in theirs. A couple of things that are fun. Shopping for floors at a big box store can be frustrating. You might talk to someone today who was working in plumbing yesterday. Flooring is all Empire Today does. They live and breathe flooring, so you can be confident you're getting honest, upfront advice. Schedule a free in-home estimate today. All listeners can receive a $350 off discount when they use the promo code DLLS. Restrictions apply. See empiretoday.com/DLLS for details. And now, on to the second period. This was different.
Yeah.
Oh, Sam's here.
Somebody's knocking on the door.
Hi, Sam. Are they
Yeah.
about to drop the scoreboard on you again?
Hey, boys. I was wondering if you're ever going to bring me in. I heard that they Stars scored the 37th fastest goal in history. So I've got my lead for the story tonight, boys. That's big time.
Fastest 2 goals.
Just making fun of you. I love you guys.
Should we just lay out and not say a word and make him feel uncomfortable? All right, let's go to the second period here because the Stars had a 13-6 edge in shots in the first. I had 13-4 in quality chances, and they had all 3 of the high danger opportunities in period number 1. It was a little more balanced in the second period. Seattle would actually come back with a 9-6 quality chance edge in the middle period, and there were a couple of high dangers for each side, but no goals. The first one was Mason Marchment had a rebound at the crease, had an open net on his backhand, missed, and then got a penalty. That was the Mason Marchment experience, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's pretty much always the case, right? We talked about yesterday high event hockey with Mason Marchment, and he's drawing penalties. He's on the ice. He's yelling at refs. He's breaking sticks over people. It's just a very active player, but he really just makes that line so much better and so much more effective with what he brings. He actually almost drove a goal. I think it was in the second period, just annoying Jamie Alexiak in front of the net and forcing Alexiak to come over and give him a cross check because he was very frustrated with Marchment being a little pest, and it actually almost led to a goal. So just Marchment being Marchment, and he's great at it.
I thought the penalty was a little soft because the player, I want to say it was Beniers, tripped over Marchment's stick, but I don't think Mason did anything. I thought it was a little ticky-tack, but whatever. He almost scored, then he gets a penalty. On that power play, Chandler Stevenson had a one-timer from the inside of the left circle, almost to the top of the circle. He was wide open, though. DeSmith fought it off. It was a good save, but look, I know that you'd rather give up a shot on the penalty kill on their power play from there than in close, but it felt like there was a little too much of a lane.
Yeah, and again, you can't be perfect. But
Right.
and when you speak of Stevenson, did he stand out to you as much as we thought he was going to stand out?
Not like he did with Vegas.
Yeah, I mean, he's got that blazing speed, and I didn't notice him as much tonight, which is a good thing for Dallas because he can create things and open up space. But yeah, you know what? Again, when you get into the special teams, you'd like to be perfect on all of them, and sometimes it's hard to be exactly where you're supposed to be all the time.
Did you agree, Sean, with Stevenson? Was he particularly noticeable throughout the game, other than 1 or 2 chances?
Yeah. No, yeah, I agree. I mean,
that was actually his only one I had for him.
I don't think he did much at 5-on-5. He had he's a guy who I expect his speed to kill teams at even strength. And I don't even think of him as much of a power play guy. Like, I think of him from his Vegas time, and I don't think of him as a guy that I would have even that sits in my mind as a guy you have to worry about with the man advantage. So that's also, once again, we talked pre-show about kind of a reflection of this Seattle roster. Like, to me, Stevenson is that guy who, if he's not burning you full length of the ice, he's not doing much sometimes, and that was the case tonight. So.
He's supposed to be that driver, right, John? He's the one that drives the defenseman back into their defensive zone when he comes through the neutral zone, and if he's not doing that, he's nowhere near as effective as he typically is.
And you think about it, he's playing with Jaden Schwartz and Andre Burakovsky, and if he's driving back and giving those guys shots, that's a really good formula. But again, I think Seattle showed their road weariness a bit tonight. They did have another chance from Beniers where he actually got the step on Rope Hintz, drove to the net, really good stuff shot, and DeSmith made the save. I remember, Sam, I don't know if you and I were saying it or if somebody near us saying, well, Rope Hintz is never going to be confused for a defenseman.
Yeah, I think that was Robert Tiffin. He was just saying how that was one of those plays. I mean, to give him credit, it was a kind of a weird play, and that's an awkward position to be stuck in. I know Luds loves the idea of a forward one-on-one with a forward down low by the crease, but Beniers makes a nice move. There's been a few, I want to say at least 4 or 5 times that the Stars have had that guy driving from the outside and getting behind the defense, whether it was that one on Rope or a couple of them that happened yesterday. So that's something maybe to look at and watch for. But so far, it hasn't bit them. The Ottinger and DeSmith have made every save.
On that play, I think that you're talking. Go ahead, Sean.
I was going to say, too, on that play, just from an additional thing as well, like, I was happy the officials didn't give DeSmith the penalty on that play, because you saw on that play, DeSmith actually made that play on the prior sequence before the buckles on the mask came off, and so his mask is still is loose at that time, and so he makes that save without his helmet properly affixed to his head and everything, and makes the save, and then after doing so, it pops off his head. We saw a sequence last year, Sam, I'm sure, Owen and Sam, I'm sure you remember, and Lud, you remember, last year Jake Oettinger got a penalty for taking his mask off in a play, and so I thought we might have seen a very strict usage of the rule by the officials to give Oettinger a penalty on that play, and I was pleased, because in the spirit of the rule, DeSmith actually probably played on further than was theoretically safe, because that's an easy spot where that mask isn't safe. That puck pops up, it could easily something more. So even more credit to me for Casey DeSmith on that. And let's also we rip on refs all the time, so let's give a quick credit to they didn't call one when they could have on something.
I think that maybe correct me if I'm wrong. I think because he shook it off with his head and didn't grab it with his glove and pull it off, that was a big difference in what Jake did. Am I remembering that incorrectly?
Yes, but it is different, but it is something within the rules and the power. If you wanted to be an official to express you have the power here, they could have done that.
Okay. Well, look, they're up 2-0. It's just sort of like the other night against the Islanders. The other night being last night. You don't have to chase the game. I know that Pete DeBoer's style is go get the next goal, go get the next one, put them away. But for second night of a back-to-back, even though they gave up more chances, it wasn't like they were getting bombarded. They were relatively even in the real high-danger opportunities. You're okay with that period, with a 2-0 lead, with the circumstances as they are?
When you say circumstances, playing the night before and not running around, and you're trying to conserve some energy as much as you can as you're trying to go through the course of the game, and you don't want to be chasing back to your net all the time. So I think they handled the game and managed. And again, for me, it's the word manage again. I think that Dallas did a good job managing the hockey game. A 2-goal lead, of course, you'd like to move it ahead a little bit, but if you're not giving up a lot of quality scoring chances, again, that team, as the clock's ticking down, no matter if it's a second or third period, the pressure is on them to force things. That generally when you're going to get some kind of a scoring chance out of it.
Let's get to the third period here on the postgame show. That's coming up next. DLLS Dallas Stars postgame.
Rugged Road. We're talking coolers. And there's no cooler over here.
Rugged Road, in the lounge.
It's dedicated to creating innovative and durable outdoor gear for adventurers who demand the best. Our products are designed with the highest quality materials and craftsmanship, ensuring they perform in the toughest conditions, whether you're on land or water. Rugged Road gear is built to accompany you on every adventure. Crafted to handle the toughest environments, their coolers are built to last. Ensuring they can keep up with any adventure, the coolers are guaranteed to keep their contents cool for up to 1 week. Perfect for a variety of outdoor activities, from fishing and tubing to camping and tailgating. These coolers are designed to meet the needs of every outdoor or sports enthusiast. So gear up for your next adventure with Rugged Road coolers. Reliable, durable, and built to be used. Rugged Road is your ultimate outdoor companion. Head over to ruggedroadoutdoors.com and use the code DLLS for 10% off.
I'm not going to steal Sean's intro to DLS because we're going to get to have a special treat here from Sean in our next ad break. But I want to talk about the DLLS Die Hard program because, once again, we just think that it is a phenomenal way for you to get an elevated experience of watching the Dallas Stars, the Cowboys, the Rangers, the Mavs, TCU, and more to follow here at DLLS. And if you become a diehard, there are lots of perks and reasons why you should fork over that very hard and earned $79.99 for the, I might need a little bit of that, clear it right out, but for the diehard subscription. Every year you get a free t-shirt. Each year you subscribe, you get 20% off all other merchandise purchases for DLLS. You get ad-free reading of all DLLS articles, whether it's online or on your phone, on your computer, tablet, you name it. Plus, you get access to the Die Hard level stories that Sean and, of course, Sam write that aren't part of the free articles on our site. Lots of great reasons. Go to DLLS, alldlls.com, click on the Die Hard link, and become a Die Hard today. All right.
I didn't know I'd be allowed to. I didn't know I'd ever be allowed to read an ad again after earlier this week. That
Sam,
was,
did you hurt your shoulder and do you need to ice it down a little
This
bit?
is redemption.
Yeah,
Redemption.
It's just a lot going on. I'm just a little sore. I found this ice over here, so I figured I'd fire it on.
I think Sam pulled his
Got a
shoulder
little
going.
buddy there. Gilligan and the professor.
He was reaching for another of those chicken tenders and pulled something. Sorry, Sam. We'll get you in the cryo chamber later and get you a little treatment. All right. Third period. This one was interestingly more back and forth than we saw the rest of the game because there were a lot more scoring chances. I had 19 combined, Seattle with the 11-8 edge. And early on, it was the Stars counterpunch. Dodonov had a great look on the rush that hit Grubauer in the shoulder, right where Sean talked about, 38% over this side. And he, an inch or two higher, it's in the net, but Grubauer made the save. That was a really good shot. To me, it felt like Dodonov was going exactly where the scouting report told him to shoot. Nope,
yeah,
that's it.
I mean,
All
I agree. I agree with you. Can we clip back to my?
It's almost 11:30 there.
No, I was gonna say, can we clip? Can we? No one told me to prep to have my pregame clip "Told You So" clip there. So pretend that we just showed that this is.
You don't have that piece of paper that you hold up and say "Told you so"?
No, like previously on. Let's go to that right now.
Maybe you should drop your bucket of pens and write something, and then you can hold up "I told you so." Luddy loves to bring up when he called it. Hey, somebody on the show say something about that? Yeah, it was him. So anyway, Tyler Seguin gets a breakaway. Deeks to the backhand. Good save by Grubauer. Later on, Mason Marchment would have a breakaway that Grubauer stopped. The Kraken, though, really pressed.
Wait, Sean, key to that Grubauer save on Tyler Seguin's chance. Yeah. Well, now, remember, this is a podcast. Not everybody sees you shrugging your shoulder there and your little 2x2 screen.
This is a podcast, right? Okay. The breakaway part of that is the fact that Grubauer doesn't overcommit on that is really well done because Seguin has a lot of time on that. That one was such a, it actually almost felt more shootout-esque than breakaway-esque, right? Like, there's a lot of with how far away Seguin was to me. There's a lot of times a guy comes in on a breakaway and you have to rush and you have to make a play. Seguin had so much time with how poor that coverage was by Seattle, where he had a little bit time to dance a little bit more, to do a little bit more of a shootout type move. And Grubauer just stuck with it really well. A lot of times when you'll see goalies make a mistake when a guy has that much time, where they get overly aggressive and act first, and he didn't do that.
I look at that play when the goaltender kind of either reaches forward with a blocker or glove hand where it cuts that angle down. And to me, it looked like with everything that you said, and then right at the last second when Tyler did go, and make that move, he kind of throws that blocker towards the puck, and I think it just cuts on the puck elevating.
After the Seguin breakaway, after the Seguin breakaway, Jordan Eberle gets set up in the slot right above the crease.
Can we get Sam in here?
Yeah,
Sam wants to.
Let's ask Sam about this. Sam, 8:34.
I was trying to interrupt again.
8:34 into the third period. Eberle, wide open one-timer, low slot, good save by DeSmith. The Stars deal with the rebound. Then they get a power play, and Jared McCann misses a open backdoor play at the left post and pushes it wide. Either one of those go in, it's a 2-1 game with half a period to go. That was a big moment for both Dallas and Seattle.
Yeah, I want to say DeSmith looked so clean, and Pete DeBoer mentioned it after. He just looks so calm, and that's how he looked in the preseason too. He just never looks like he's panicking. Every shot looks like he handles it pretty well. The ones that should be saved, he's not just saving; he's either catching or putting them into the corner. And that one specifically was a great save. Comes way out, cuts off the angle, makes a good save. And then that second one was funny. I was trying to take a screenshot. I didn't end up getting it. But if you took a screenshot of that setup with Eberle and McCann, and you said this didn't even end up in a shot on goal, that is just wild, because Eberle could have taken a shot from 7 feet out and instead makes the right play and finds McCann, and he misses the wide open net. So the fact that one did not turn into really even a chance is wild, but that was a huge swing in momentum.
Kind of similar to the Anthony Duclair one last night, where Duclair got that pass across the crease and hits the side of the net.
That's 2 in a row in 2 consecutive games. The one thing they didn't do tonight, hit a post. So after giving up 8 posts in the first 2 games of the season. This time it was Casey DeSmith that had to make the saves or get some help from shooters just missing the net all together. Then there was the Mason Marchment breakaway. Any thoughts, either of you guys? Anybody want to raise your hand or ring a bell, or just?
I was
say,
just
well,
going to
they didn't
ask.
score?
This is what I was trying to ask Sean before. The Seguin and Marchment one, to me, I'm not a goalie expert by any means, but it felt kind of like they made one too many moves and kind of got in tight. Is that the case, Sean? Did they get maybe a little too close and not able to elevate?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of those. I think both of those. The play probably would have been smarter to shoot a little bit earlier. It's just like the. I don't know how many people have seen the like viral Paul Maurice clip of him like laying on the floor of the locker room with his glove, with the goalie glove on, and like that. That's a Paul Maurice kind of captured perfectly right there. When the goalie is able to smother a play like that, when you get in tight, you have to make sure you're going bar down. So, and that's exactly what happened there.
Sam, do you actually play goalie? Luds thinks you're a goalie.
No, I'm not a goalie. I'm a goalie in lacrosse.
Oh, that's
a goalie in
that's
lacrosse.
Painful. That's
By the
painful.
Way, that's the most
painful.
punishing goalie position in all the sports where a keeper is involved.
Oh,
that's giving the least amount of padding. And
so I mentioned this to
hard, dense lacrosse rubber balls at like 100 miles an hour. With
I don't think Sam got hit by many of them.
I actually ended my career with a concussion that kept me out for the final 6 months my senior year because I took one right to the dome. So
tennis ball or wiffle ball?
Oh yeah,
pickleball.
Luds, how about this? How about this? Tomorrow in the studio, I'll shoot that thing at you, and you tell me that it's a wiffle ball.
Do I get to put like something on to protect myself or no?
I'll give you the 1-inch chest protector that we're allowed to wear as a goalie in lacrosse, and you can handle that.
Listen to him speak.
I know.
Makes sense.
Yep. Well, yeah.
I was trying to tell you. So funny enough, though, I talked to Casey DeSmith. He was a big lacrosse player in high school. He actually almost quit hockey to play only lacrosse. He said that he's a goalie in hockey, so he wanted to be an attackman in lacrosse so he could score. And I said the same thing. I said I was a goalie in lacrosse, so I wanted to be able to score in hockey because you don't want to just take shots in every sport you play. That's no fun.
I played lacrosse. I played goalie in lacrosse for like a year because I had a lacrosse coach said, "Oh, you play goalie in hockey? It's the same thing." It is not the same thing. It is not the same thing. It was. No. I'm emotionally scarred by some of the welts from that. So we're gonna. I gotta give Sam some.
Yeah.
I
gotta give Sam some credit today. I didn't. This is the whole. I didn't know your game.
No, getting the ice bag back out. Attaboy, Sammy. Sammy, go center screen so we can get a nice shot of that for our previously.
But no, my hair's a little wet now.
I tell you, I had one of my club hockey teammates in college was our starting varsity lacrosse goalie, and I swear, if you think hockey goalies have a screw loose, I think he had the whole toolbox loose. That is a very tough position to have any sort of sanity and still play it. So
perfect 2 guys played it.
There you go. There they are.
Thank you.
Look at our goalies. Different sports though. Yeah. Power play at the end for the Stars. Not only did they get a bunch of shots on net, but they also killed 2 really valuable minutes for Seattle. And they only gave up 1 halfway decent chance. It was from Jaden Schwartz. He took a slap shot from the top of the circle. I thought compared to some of the early 6-on-5 play that they gave up against Nashville, especially, they really didn't give Seattle a whole lot at all.
No, again, we can keep saying this. It was a real good effort from them, you know. And again, like I said earlier, give credit to Seattle. You know, they're trying to push back, and they're gonna make some noise. They're gonna threaten a couple teams this year. I think the way that Seattle likes to play the game.
All right, we're gonna break down the post-match stuff in just a minute as the DLLS Dallas Stars post-game show continues in a moment.
Ready. I'm ready. It's okay. My read. I'm ready this time.
He's not ready.
I'm actually
not ready.
No, I am ready. I am ready. I am ready.
Sam.
Oh, there goes
Sam.
Sam.
Doesn't
there
care.
Goes
He
Sam.
just split.
There goes
Sam. Just split on you.
Sam. There goes Sam. You know what Sam's going to do? Sam is going to go do the groundwork for you people to get you the best stories to go behind the DLLS Die Hard paywall. The best stories you can get, people on the ground like Sam This company's putting money behind it. That's why you should become a diehard. And you know what? You get access to the damn Discord. It's Lud's favorite place he's never been to. You get to go, and there's you get to go, and you kind of get the jump. You get a bit of a jump on some of the other things too. Producer John was throwing out things. Hey, who are some hockey players who could kill a Kraken? Our Discord was ready and prepped for that. See, you get some wonderful things like this.
These were hockey players who you think look like they could kill an actual Kraken.
Could actually slay a Kraken.
Okay.
Yeah. And you know
all
what?
of them look like they could fight the mythical creature.
Did they lose the top?
Yeah,
of
there
heads,
was
or
one.
what
There was one
No.
answer. There was one answer, Luds. That was 3 Craig Ludwigs out of 4. Yeah,
yes.
there you go.
Yes.
Jesus, I lost my whole head.
I can't control
Yeah.
the cropping before you guys point it out. I know you're going to point it out.
Actually, that's
the way it
probably the
is.
best way to look at me. Is just chop straight.
Yeah.
Blacker, John.
You could, if you had it on Twitter, you could click and expand each one so you could see the whole photo. But yeah, it's a little.
I mean,
awful.
to use that example right there. You know what? 3 out of 4 Craig Ludwigs. Recommend the DLS Die Hard damn Discord.
What
for you.
about the fourth Craig
one?
Ludwig?
The fourth one is still trying to find it. So
No way.
You got jokes.
So is the live one.
I never saw that one.
You never said I hope so.
Why doesn't someone take this chance to read it out loud for our audio listeners?
Nope. I don't know if we should read it out loud.
Well, now they're going to think it says you know whose name 4 times.
Let's get into the post game, eh, boys?
What if I told you it was still the DLS read?
What if I told you that I really had to go to the bathroom?
No, he didn't.
He does.
So that wasn't a bag of ice on his head?
He hasn't left yet. He's holding it now. All right.
yeah.
Segment 4. The post-game show is teetering at the edge of the abyss and might just crash forever. Casey DeSmith gets his first shutout of the season in his first start. It's his 11th of his NHL career, which is kind of fun symmetry because Jakeoettinger got his 11th shutout of his career last night. Look, making sweeping generalizations about the Stars' offseason moves to get Casey DeSmith and others might be a bit premature after one start, but it is really nice to see the Stars, who looked a little loose defensively in Nashville, come home and give up 0 goals in 2 home games.
Yeah, and that's what we talked about with Sean in the pregame show about being that guy, that backup role where you're coming in on nights like this where you're playing back-to-back and you know that your team is tired. And so obviously he's up for the task, and it was a great way for him to start not only in that situation, but, you know, in the jersey that he's wearing right now, and especially at home with these fans.
I thought it was.
Go ahead, Sean.
I was going to say I thought it's been for both the Smith edition, and let's give credit to the Stars defense too for a lot of the question mark coming into this season, where people were like, "Oh man, what happened to this defense? Where is it?" And like we all agreed that, you know what, Tanev would have been great to re-sign Tanev, but they've let up 3 goals in 3 games, and they've got back-to-back shutouts as a team, and it's. I mean, early returns on the move on the blue line are. I mean, the sky is not falling the way some people thought the sky would be falling.
Yeah, I think the blue line was excellent tonight. I was going to say, I think everyone on defense looked really good. Niels Lundqvist had probably what I think was his best game of the year. Just solid defensive plays. The gap was always there for the guys. They pinned the guys to the boards, quickly turned the puck over. Outside of those kind of really big pushes from Seattle, which was really just the middle of the second period, the Stars defense really held tight. And I think it was kind of funny because Casey DeSmith, just classic hockey players, Casey DeSmith immediately credited the defense and how easy they made it for him. And the players immediately credited Casey DeSmith for how easy he made it for the defense by, like I said, covering rebounds, kicking pucks to the corner and things like that. But I did ask Pete about the team structure overall. And I asked, do you think this is the best game you guys have played? And he said, absolutely. I think we've gotten better each game. And I said, is it exciting to think about what this team could be 2 months from down the road, 4 months down the road, whatever? And he kind of smiled and said, it really is. You got to take it one step at a time. But you can tell that the hope is very high because the team is already playing like they are right now, and they're only 3 games in.
one of our big storylines to go into the game tonight was Matt Dumba's injury and having Brendan Smith come in tonight. I thought he was night and day better than that St. Louis preseason game.
Yeah.
And he did a lot of things where I went, oh, okay, this is who I thought we were getting. And look, maybe that's unfair for us to make those kind of judgments after one preseason game, but I thought DeSmith looked great, or not, excuse me, Brendan Smith. DeSmith, of course, did too. What did you think of, I mean, Sam was just talking about all the defense, about how the team and the coaching staff adjusted with Dumba being out of the lineup.
Yeah, I think they did a great job at it. And I think as far as Smith goes, it was simpler for him tonight. And I mentioned to you earlier, there were a couple times that he tried to make one of them Miro Heiskanen passes up through the middle of the ice or a Harley pass up through the middle of the ice. And that would be just my recommendation is, in those situations, you don't have to be one of them two guys. Your puck is going off the wall, unless there's a, clear seam. But I think he was great. I mean, for what we saw in the first preseason game, I was like, but again, we should know better. I should know better. I mean, it's a veteran player that's been around for a long time. Preseason games don't really mean a ton, but when you're trying to make your first impression with a new club, you try to play the best you can, and he did tonight.
Yeah, I just felt like we went from in our brains, and I think fans watching, if they watch that St. Louis preseason game, they went, oh dear, Brendan Smith and Nils Lundkvist, we can't ever go to that again because it was terrifying. But that wasn't the case tonight, was it, Sam?
No, absolutely not. Like I said, they were clean. I think that the depth really stood out, and that's really important for this team because we can talk about depth on paper all you want, but for guys to just be able to come in, whether it's Casey DeSmith in net, Brendan Smith on the back end, or whatever we see over the next few weeks, for guys to just be able to come in, especially new ones that weren't with this team last year, and just be able to jump right in and play the system, I think it just speaks so much about this team and what they can do. And this is now year 3 of this system. And Pete has mentioned over and over again, we feel really comfortable. We feel like we can plug in people and we can just play our game. And that's exactly what they did tonight. But one interesting thing before I go right, I talked to Pete about the move. Robert actually asked about the move for moving Dodonov and Stankoven, whatever you want to call it, Owen. And he said that
it's not what I want to call it. It's how he says his name.
It's Stank. Go ahead. It's
he said that the main goal of that actually was to get Wyatt Johnston's line going. And then he said, actually, it was really to get Wyatt Johnston going. So he felt like Wyatt wasn't up to his top level over the past 2 games. And we asked if he got what he wanted, and he said, absolutely. So the funny part about that is that Logan Stankoven is who already your guy that you put to get a line going or to get a guy going. We talk about his motor going all the time, and I'm going to ask him tomorrow or whenever we get back with the team, because he was drinking coffee about 20 minutes ago, standing right here after a game at 11 o'clock at night. So maybe that's why his motor going. Maybe he's drinking 4,000 milligrams of caffeine a day and just never stops. But I thought it was really interesting that I would have never picked out Wyatt Johnston and said he wasn't playing great over the last 2 games, but they wanted to get him going, and that line looked really good tonight.
Again, that's why Pete's a good coach. I mean, he knows, who to put with who to get them going. And he's right. I mean, Wyatt hasn't been the Wyatt that we saw last year, but that's hard to live up to early in the season. And as far as Stankoven goes, the guy only knows one way to play. And they all recognize it. The league is going to recognize it, that you can't take a shift off. You can't be just kind of close to him if you're a defender, because he moves and his feet don't stop moving. And he does all those little details. I love him in the offensive zone, especially when he goes to the front of the net. You don't see him swing by. The only time he'll swing by is if he spots the puck starting to leave the zone. Otherwise, it's all the little details that are in his game that makes him that kind of player. Sean, who it's going to kind of remind me of a little bit? And there were times when there were lines here in Dallas that weren't working. Who was the guy they put up there to fix the line? Yuri Letnin.
I believe his numbers. Yep, I was going to say. I believe his numbers in the rafters, number 26, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Sam
if the line doesn't work, put Let's on it. Yeah, exactly.
I can't see it. All right, boys, I'm going to go right.
Wait, real quick, Sam. You're not used to drinking coffee at 10:30 at night?
No, I don't think so. I think I would not sleep for. I drink coffee like during the game or before the game, and I even can't go to sleep for an hour and a half after. So.
I know.
Yeah.
All right, Sam, before you leave,
go write something great.
It's time for us to name our man of the match, so I'll let you go first so you can go to the bathroom and then go right.
Wyatt Johnston.
You want to defend it, or is that
Done.
all you're going to say?
Nope.
End of story.
Nope.
All right.
Don't need to
get out of
defend
here.
it. All right.
Thanks, Sam.
See ya.
He really has to go pee.
He must.
Yep. All right, Sean. So we started this
really had to
last
go.
night.
He
Instead
really
of
had to
just
go. He really had
rattling
to
off
go.
3 stars. A little soccer thing because Luddy loves football. Who's your man of the match tonight?
Oh yeah, his favorite. Am I allowed to pick someone else, or do we all have to pick? What are the rules? Are we allowed to pick? The
Everybody
same
can
person?
pick their own. It can be the same or
Okay.
different.
Okay, I'm gonna go with DeSmith then, because I think for the backup goalie coming in, getting just shut out in his first game, to me that's a pretty clear, honorable performance.
I'm going to pick 2, and I'm going to. It's Blackwell and Steele for me. I thought together those 2 were very effective, whether it was 5-on-5 or shorthanded.
I would think I'd probably go with DeSmith, but for the sake of saying something different, I'm actually going to go with Tyler Seguin again tonight. They had 2 goals last night. Look, scoring chances generated is not the end all of a player playing a good game, but Tyler finished with 5, a team high tonight by my count. Right behind him was Stankoven with 4, and I just think that right now that line, Marchment, Duchesne, and Seguin are really the drivers of the offense. It's not the Hintz, Robertson, and whoever they play with at the moment. Their time will come, but the Duchesne line is their best line, and they are consistently. It goes back to that preseason game where against Colorado, Duchesne said afterwards, boy, they're teasing us, giving us a hard time for running plays. Guess what? Everybody knows when the season starts, they intended to be ready, and I think they are.
Well, it's the only line that stayed intact.
Yeah.
I think even in preseason, I don't know if they all play together in preseason, but and that's because they love the chemistry and what they do off the ice together, on the ice, and it's all about performing in games. And so there's no reason to split that up because again, you've got different people on each line that bring something different to that line and to every shift that they get out there and play.
And can we talk about how I don't know if I was reading too much into a narrative, and this isn't something that was new tonight, but since he's come to Dallas, Matt Duchesne has been such a good 200-foot player, right? That's something where I'm not sure if I was reading too much into narrative from time in Nashville or anything like that, but just watched him closely last season and then even tonight, there's 3 or 4 times in the game where there's little plays he makes. There was one in the first period where he comes back and I think it may have been Alexiak, or I can't remember which Kraken defender is joining the play. And he basically runs a little semi-legal interference play and breaks it up. Later, there's a stick lift I'm watching in the second period with him. With Duchesne, just credit to him on what he's been able to do defensively too with that line. Because so much, we talked a lot. I wrote about what he does offensively, how he creates on that, but I'm just watching the game tonight, and there's multiple times I've got my notes here, and just oh, that's a nice defensive play by Duchesne. Just 3 or 4 times tonight with him.
I would say that all those things that you said are because of one thing, and you say you can't teach it, but you can, and it's hockey sense. I think it's from the neck up, and I was talking about it earlier when Matt Duchesne sees the ice and sees his opportunities, the openings before he even gets the puck. And he has an idea right away when it touches his stick where his outlets are, whether it's a shot. And then as soon as pucks turn over, he's got his, and this was a Hitchcock thing, is when you don't have the puck and you're coming back to your own zone, even in the offensive zone, he wanted your skates pointed back at your net so that you're coming back through the middle of the ice. And so he always seems to be in the proper position. And again, it's not like he's 23, 24 years old too. So, he's impresses every night.
Couple of things real quick, guys, and then we'll look ahead at the upcoming game schedule. The Stars have won 4 in a row in the regular season against the Seattle Kraken. They are now 6-0-1 in the last 3 seasons. So the last 2 years plus this game tonight, 13 out of a possible 14 points. The only one they didn't win was an overtime loss March of 2023 when Adam Larson scored at 3-on-3. Again, that's 3-on-3. That means they were tied going into OT. But this is a Seattle team that basically since that playoff series, right? They just haven't been the same. They had a really good run, get into the playoffs, make the Stars actually beat the Avalanche in the Game 7 in Colorado, forced Dallas to 7 games. Since then, they've struggled, although they really do seem like the people around the Kraken are excited for what they think Coach Dan Bylsma is going to bring to this group.
Well, they should be. I think they're going to be a competitive team this year. And don't think that they don't know that record. I mean, they get the press notes, and a lot of guys read them, and they'll tell you that they don't. And the coaches aren't going to talk about it either, but they all know. And so, it's a cloud. It's a cloud that hangs over you sometimes. And, and you just seem to find a way not to win the hockey game against the Dallas Stars.
Well, the Stars won't play Seattle again until March 29th and 31st, but I like that. They're going to have 5 days in Seattle in 2 games. So they'll get up there early. They'll probably have, I don't know if they're the owner up in Vancouver. I don't know. Yeah. We'll find out. But I like the idea of playing both of their games on one trip as opposed to going to Seattle 2 different times. Yeah. And speaking of travel, Stars don't have to go anywhere. They'll have a day off tomorrow. And then I would imagine they would have a fairly well-populated morning skate on Tuesday as they welcome in the San Jose Sharks for the first time this year. San Jose has lost both of their games at home to open the season. 5-4 overtime loss against the Blues last Thursday. Then Saturday, they got blanked 2-0 by the Anaheim Ducks, which does not read as a particularly good result for them. But now they will be coming in, I would imagine, flying in tomorrow. They didn't play today. And so they'll have 2 days to recover to play the Stars. But they'll do so, Sean, without their marquee young player, Macklin Celebrini.
Yeah, but I mean, there's still some other young. I mean, Will Smith will be playing in that game well, so he's another good young player, part of that core that's going to be building. But yeah, it's a San Jose team that we all know where they are in this lot in life. They've got Celebrini, they've got the goal is to build around him. But if they were to be in the lottery again this year, no one in San Jose would be complaining because it's a long-term build there, and it's an interesting team to watch too, because they got a young coach in Ryan Warsofsky who is, I think, is a good hockey mind, and I think is going to be given a chance to be allowed to grow with that roster. He's a young coach who's going to make mistakes too, and I see similarities between him and what Colorado did with Jared Bednar about a decade ago now. So, but for right now, the Sharks aren't scaring anyone on their schedule.
Yeah, coaches will be concerned. It's that trap game. The team's going to travel. Mm-hmm. You think you're going on the road. You got a team that's comfortable here in Dallas, and I think as a player, there's a couple other teams that haven't gotten off to a great start that they may meet or may not in the playoffs. And again, it's down the road. So continue to put points in the bank, because there will be some time typically during the season where you're going to go through a less than a real good stretch. You may lose 3 out of 4 games, something like that. So when you have an opportunity to take it, to a team that isn't feeling great about themselves, you take it.
So as we wrap up our show tonight, we're not going to do a 5-minute wrap like we did last night.
Thank God.
But you're 3-0. Pretty happy with the start so far?
Yeah, I think you have to be. And just for the reason I said before, because when you look at the 3 games, they've gotten better and better and better. And just, I don't want to say leaps and bounds, but, everything seems to be going and coming together the way that they want. And you look at some of the other teams that, are on the other side of that, they got a lot of work to do. And again, especially when you have, such a schedule where you can't work on things, and when things are going wrong. Now when things are going good, you seem to be less tired when you're coming to the rink.
Sean, do you think the Stars will be, as they look ahead to this week, Edmonton next Saturday at 3:00 at the AAC, you think that they will be, as a good team has been the last 2 years, able to focus on the 2 games before that?
Oh, yeah. I'm not really worried about the Stars and focusing on opponents. I don't think this is a team that overly looks ahead. I think it's a very focused group, and that goes back a lot to the culture of the guy whose name I'm not going to say when he came in and helped kind of instill this, where this team's whole focus is what happens in June, and they know that you get there by not overlooking San Jose's and overlooking Washington's along the way.
So there you have it, 3-0 to start the year. You can't make the playoffs at the beginning of the season, but you can sure put yourself in a big hole. Stars haven't done that. 6 points out of 6 to start the year. Big thank you to everybody for tuning in tonight. For those of you listening later on one of the audio streaming platforms, whether it's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, you name it, we appreciate it as always. Hit us up on the Discord. Get into the chat. Like, subscribe. Hit us up on Twitter. You can see, if you're watching, our Twitter handles there. And, of course, we will be back for a regular show tomorrow at 2:00 from our studio. We will have a pre- and post-game on Tuesday for the Stars and San Jose Sharks. For our producer, John the Party Animal Anderson, Sam Nessler, Sean Shapiro, and Craig Ludwig. I'm Owen Newkirk. Thanks again for joining us. Final score, Stars 2, Kraken 0. We'll see you tomorrow. Until then, so long, everyone.
We all silly like the mayor.